Namo Adidafa. Thanks so much for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This wonderful sound calls us back to our true home. The second mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I vow to cultivate loving kindness and learn ways to work for the well-being of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I will practice generosity by sharing my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in real need. I'm determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others. I will respect the property of others, but I will prevent others from profiting from human suffering or the suffering of other species on earth. For our Dharma lesson, we've been reading Taming the Monkey Mind, A Guide to Pure Land Practice by Buddhist scholar Cheng Wei-an and Dharma Master Suddhisukha. We're continuing now in Appendix 1, which is The Bodhi Mind by Dharma Master Thich Tam. In order to develop a true Bodhi mind, we should ponder and meditate on the following 6 critical points. Point 1, the enlightened mind. Sentient beings are used to grasping at this body as me, at this discriminating mind consciousness, which is subject to sadness and anger, love and happiness, as me. However, this flesh and blood body is illusory. Tomorrow, when it dies, it will return to dust. Therefore, this body, a composite of the 4 elements, earth, water, fire, and air, is not me. The same is true of our mind consciousness, which is merely the synthesis of our perception of the 6 dusts: form, sound, fragrance, taste, touch, and dharmas. Take the case of a person who formerly could not read or write, but is now studying English or German. When his studies are completed, he will have knowledge of English or German. Another example is a person who had not known Paris, but who later on had the opportunity to visit France and absorb the sights and sounds of that city. Upon his return, if someone were to mention Paris, the sights of that metropolis would appear clearly in his mind. That knowledge formerly did not exist. When the sights and sounds entered his subconscious, they existed. If these memories were not rekindled from time to time, they would gradually fade away and disappear, returning to the void. This knowledge of ours, sometimes existing, sometimes not existing, some images disappearing, other images arising, always changing, following the outside world, is illusory, not real. Therefore, the mind consciousness is not me. The ancients have said, the body is like a bubble, the mind is like the wind. They are illusions without origin or true nature. If we truly realize the body and mind are illusory and do not cling to them, we will gradually enter the realm of no self, escaping the mark of self. The self of our self being thus void, the self of others is also void, and therefore there is no mark of others. Our self and the selves of others being void, the selves of countless sentient beings are also void, and therefore there is no mark of sentient beings. The self being void, there is no lasting ego. There is really no one who has attained enlightenment. This is also true of nirvana, ever-dwelling, everlasting. Therefore, there is no mark of lifespan. Here we should clearly understand, it is not that the eternally dwelling true thusness has no real nature or true self. It is because the sages have no attachment to that nature that it becomes void. Sentient beings being void, objects, dharmas, are also void, because objects always change, are born and die away with no self-nature. We should clearly realize that this is not because objects, upon disintegration, become void and non-existent, but rather because being illusory, their true nature is empty and void. Sentient beings, too, are like that. Therefore, the ancients have said, why wait until the flowers fall to understand that form is emptiness? The practitioner, having clearly understood that beings and dharmas are empty, can proceed to recite the Buddha's name with a pure, clear, and bright mind, free from all attachments. Only when he cultivates in such an enlightened frame of mind can he be said to have developed the Bodhi mind. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be at peace. Namo Adida Phat. Thanks so much for joining me today.